So here's another small project that I'm doing on my Roadster, and this is something that you may want to do. So basically I decided to add like a little charging station and make it look as OEM as possible. So I got these bits right here. So this is a DC to DC converter. That's the first thing you're going to need. It's going to convert the output of 12 volts into 5 volts that the charger is going to require. And then I also got this USB extension cord right here, and this is these are going to be my outlets. Right now the plan is to file down these sides and somehow attach these to like a blank out switch. Attach it to that, make it look as OEM as possible. So the first step is going to be finding a power source and the ground for these two wires. My next step was to find a good power connection and a ground here. So some of you may not know, but these vehicles were actually all pre-wired for a phone, and most of them didn't come with the phone, but there is wiring for it. It's just underneath here. So I pulled these wires through, and obviously the gray and red one, that's going to be your power source, and this one's going to be your minus or negative. I'm going to solder these connections together, and I'm going to use shrink wrap to make good insulation here. So I'll need to strip these wires just a little more. Okay, as you can tell, it's not very comfortable to work in here, but I guess this is gonna have to do. Okay, some of this I did off camera, just because it was just a little too tedious. So here I connected the red wire to this gray and red wire. Now I'll use this soldering iron to put it all together. Connect it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now let's do the ground wire. And again, I really apologize for the angle of this camera. Trust me, it's really I'm not really comfortable here. And I'll say again, if If you guys happen to take your seats out for whatever reason and you want to do this mod, that's the time to do it. Oh yeah, there's no way this is gonna disconnect now. I'm not gonna yank too hard, but you got the idea. And I'll also answer the question that I know you'll have is why didn't I just use these sockets? Why did I get an extension? Well, because these connectors are kind of crap. You know, they're kind of loose. So I'm gonna use a liberal amounts of okay, maybe some electrical tape to attach them to the extension, just to make sure that they never pull out. And if I ever want to change my sockets, you know, it's gonna be like a quick disconnect option. So it should all work out pretty well. Alright, so now that the wiring is basically done, the next step is to figure out a way of incorporating this outlet into this bezel here. And I do have a blank here, so I was trying to decide whether I should put this in the middle or put this here. So I decided that it's going to be better on this side. So another question was whether I should mount this in the back like this, and this seemed to be an obvious solution because just the way this piece is molded here, the actual outlet fits perfectly in the back. But the problem this poses is that I'm constantly going to be inserting wires here, so which is going to generate pressure on this. So no matter how you attach it, like eventually it's going to get loose and fall out the back. So it is going to be a better solution to actually mount this in the front like this. And actually, the texture of this plastic and the color matches this, factory bezel, pretty well. But one thing I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to file down these sides just to make it fit a little more flush. So ideally for a job like this, you would want to use some kind of a belt sander. They sell really tiny ones that they will be perfect for a project like this, but I don't happen to have one right now. So I'm going to use this rotary tool. I wouldn't exactly use an angle grinder because it's a little big. This smaller tool I feel like is just perfect for this job. And remember, we're not trying to take off a lot of material here, we're just going to go just a little bit at a time. I'll put it up to max speed. Okay, so in the middle of all of this, I made a decision to make it sit flush. It's not quite, you know, OEM type look, but as you can see, it's, you know, it's gonna sit flush like this. And again, you know, of course, that top hole is gonna be, it's gonna be covered. Okay, so while I was working on this thing, I decided to make a revision. You know, if you can rewind to the beginning of the video, you would see that originally I wanted this thing to kind of sit on top, like it wouldn't be flush. While I was working on it, I decided to change it up a little bit, and I decided to make it fit flush after all, just for a little better factory look, if you will. So I decided to do all of this work off camera because it was just a lot of grinding, you know, mundane work, but I'll show you what I did here. I ended up, you know, trimming the sides, and then if you can see right here, I made these little plastic inserts just to make sure that, you know, these you know, springs in this USB port, they can hold it, you know, they can snap into place. So I think this is, you know, probably the best solution, because this would allow me to remove this outlet if I ever need to. Now this is just mocked up. Of course, these plastic spacers are going to be glued in place. This gap is going to be covered. So the plan for this is, you know, once I get this blank switch cover, I'm just going to cut off the top piece and I'm going to glue it in place. It's not perfect, but here it is nonetheless. If I was going to do it again, I would probably just, you know, buy a USB port from one of the newer cars and just call it a day. Even though those only have one outlet, I wanted a dual. Anyhow, now see, there's this gap, and I actually ordered, you know, these from a couple of sources with different part numbers, and these plugs came in the same. They're too skinny for this, you know, for this slot here. They're meant to be fitted in the middle here, like this. So that's what I did. You know, I decided to use one of these guys. Just hack it up, and I'm gonna adapt this piece to fit right here, and that way we're gonna have OEM texture, and it's, you know, it's gonna sit flush inside this hole here. So to start, this is the tool I'm gonna use, and I'm just gonna use that to round out this corner here, just to look like that side. Okay, now that I prepared my surfaces for glue by using some alcohol, a little bit of sandpaper before that, it's ready for gluing. My little USB outlet has finished curing, and here she is. Yeah, I think it came out pretty well. I do have a little bit of glue residue here, which obviously I'm going to clean off, but it's holding really strong. You know, I don't have a USB cord to show you, but it's solid. And here's the back side. See, like I told you before, I just used ABS strips, you know, put them across just so this outlet can snap in. I'm not gonna do it now, but you can, you know, I can technically take it out when I need to, or if I need to, but overall I think it came out pretty well.